Hi, I'm Anna, and I'm going to talk a bit about Essence since it seems that everyone is talking about Essence. Actually, no, correction. Everyone is talking about New Vogue editor. So, my take is two things. Chloe is independently wealthy, so she can actually afford to work for little money as editor of Vogue. And number two, Anna Wintour would never ever hire anyone who is going to be a superstar after her, because really, does she really want to have people saying, oh, this new person is amazing, Anna should have been gone for a long time. But anyway, good for them, good for everyone. Can't wait to see what the new editor does, and congratulations. So back to Essence. A lot of people got excited because they confused bankruptcy as liquidation, which is in US chapter 7, but actually it's bankruptcy protection, which is chapter 11, which just means restructuring and is bankruptcy protection from getting ripped apart by whoever comes. So there is not going to be the mother of all sales. I mean, Essence already has the mother of all sales just because it's Tuesday. So that has been its undoing, but it has more to do with economics of online platforms when it comes to luxury, as we've seen with Yux Net-a-Porter, as we've seen with Farfetch. Yes, Essence quoted tariffs as explanation, and yes, that may have been the final nail in the coffin, but that strikes me as too convenient of an explanation. Like early as last summer, if not before that, I knew they were not long for this world, because having been working in retail for some time, anyone who has sales so frequently is not long for this world. I mean, look around you and look, whoever is having sales all the time know that they themselves are for sale. So that's kind of like indicator number one. And then, while content early on may have been Essence differentiation, that operative word here, or operative phrase, is early on. That has been back then. Now, I never understood the link between content that Essence has been putting on Instagram and their e-commerce platform. And if you want to have amazing content, go create a magazine. And if you want to have content that moves product and contributes to sales, then you do something completely different. And Essence didn't do that. Content can be great, but again, if you want to do that, go and do a magazine. And if you're running an online platform, you need to worry about how you're gonna drive customers to your site, how are you gonna convert those customers, how you're gonna increase average order value, how you're gonna drive cross-sell and upsell, how are you gonna drive loyalty, and all those fun stuff that is more in the domain of commercial planning than it is a domain of content planning. But here we are. And what is the market growth strategy of Essence? They've always been very limited to Canada and coasts of cool kids on the coasts of the US. Even in the US, before tariffs, they had a lot of time before to penetrate the rest of North America, not to say Europe, Asia, and so on. Never happened. No market growth strategy there. And then Amazon is successful because it has a lot of distribution centers. Essence didn't invest in that, instead invested in spelling bee. God bless, fun content, but what did it do for them? Not much business wise. Two distribution centers Zalando has in Europe, and they're not doing so well either. Distribution centers in every mile. Amazon has around every corner. That is the economics of online platforms if you want to sell. It almost doesn't even have to do if young customers want to buy stuff online. Maybe they don't want, you need to have a distribution center at every corner, and then there is a supply and logistics. Look what Zara is doing, look what Shein is doing. The speed of delivery, everything is done and made in 2 days. Storage of luxury goods is so expensive that SSense had to get rid of that. Hence, the sales, logistics is unbelievably expensive. That's why they had to, something's got to give on the long run. That's why they spent all their investors' money at a massive valuation. So it comes down to boring stuff. So happened to much bigger platforms there than theirs. My Teresa is still standing. Question, how long is that gonna be? They're privately owned, majority still. They had a big focus on German market and then growing from there. They're focusing mostly of their biggest customers, those who spend the most money. I don't know how far is that gonna go. They have hypermarket focus, strategic data-driven growth, and they focus on their 10% of most valuable customers. SSense didn't seem to have been doing any of that, and again, they did not focus on business fundamentals. Yes, spelling bee and fun content can get you only so far, but if people buy only on sale, if you don't have business fundamentals done right, if you don't have your logistics dialed in, here is what happens. Gonna be missed. I'm gonna go shop a little bit of sale now because the price is right. Bye.